Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Country with the weekly comic book roundup. We've covered part of this week's massive haul, and let's keep on trucking with this week's Avengers books because, yes, just like with the X-Men, there are that many. Actually, it would be technically Avengers and Miscellaneous Marvel, but yeah, that's the video title's going to be. So yeah. Anyway, kicking things off, we've got the massive sized Avengers number 750 or 50. Legacy number 750. Okay, so where we left off in World War, She-Hulk. The Red Widow, having turned herself into a Hulk, detonated a gamma bomb just outside the Atlantean capital. So, however, we're not going to be getting to... we won't be getting to the conclusion of World War She-Hulk immediately. We have a prologue. The couple is visited in their bedroom by a mysterious stranger. The Orb. The Orb has been watching them. Watches everyone. And, well, he knows that soon all their little disagreements are gonna turn into quite the fight, and the things they've been saying to each other, their heads will get thrown out, which will lead to other things being thrown. And, well, because something big is coming, something he can't miss. Well, he kind of needs them to kill each other. So. And then that's our prologue. On to our to chapter 1 of our story. Elsewhere and Elsewhen. That's the setting. Khazar is in the Stone Age. Not in which he fits in. So 1 million BC, fighting off Kid Thanos, who's trying to obliterate humanity before it does its thing. But he gets an assist from the Avengers of 1 million BC. Turns out Khazar's on a mission chronicling the various legacy powers through the past. So now we get World War She-Hulk, the conclusion. The bomb exploded, and She-Hulk is absorbing all of the radiation. And so, crackling with gamma radiation, she's taken back to Avengers Mountain, which is still technically down after it was sabotaged by Gorilla Man. But she flashes back to the first issue. She the down Celestial, and it's like, this is way above my pay grade. But she changed into Hulk and hadn't changed back because Hulk knew better. Ducking her head down and acting like it didn't happen in front of her wasn't the right thing to do. So she absorbs the radiation. We cut to a trial in the Supreme Court of the Russian Federation. Testimony is being given by the Crimson Dynamo about what happened, and it's not She-Hulk who should be on trial. It's the Red Widow who turned the Winter Guard into assassins and kidnappers, and that rather what the Winter Guard should be. Heroes who could make the people of Russia feel pride again instead of the same fears of old. But She-Hulk demands an apology, but figures that having the case thrown out will do. She also manages to take the gamma radiation and burn out the infection in Avengers Mountain, And we get a nice little homage to one of the old, I want to say it's one of the old She-Hulk covers from the Burn Run. But she's back to her old self and naked, and probably nakedly hugs the Avengers all at once. But back with Kazar and the Avengers of Women VC, they take down Kid Thanos, and Kazar heads back. And after having a telepathic chat with Phoenix about Odin and his arrogance, so to say, at the very least, wherein she states that perhaps another child would teach Odin a little bit, would help. Kazar continues to strip through time. However, someone's been watching. Doom, who's approached by Mephisto in the form of a snake. They talk. Doom is well aware of who it is whom he speaks with. But this is Doom Supreme, wearing the armor made from the flesh of his first love. That's really the thing that happened. But Kazar has been cataloging the various legacy heroes he encounters throughout the ages. The Spirit Rider, the Samoan Shark Rider, Reno Phoenix and the Starbrand Kid of the Wild West Outlaws, Reno Phoenix and the Starbrand Kid, Sergeant Zardos, Soldier Supreme and the Secret Invaders, Wong Fei Hung, legendary master of the Drunken Dragon Fist, the Black Knight, the Bloody Butcher of Camelot, Mamadou Fall, the most fearsome Black Panther who ever lived, Masashi Miyamoto, the Samurai of Vengeance. Heroes long forgotten or never known to begin with, lost to the shadows of time. Among others are a Moon Knight, the 3D Man. But yeah, it's something, all right. And he continues through time, but he is the celestial tech time knife that he has informs him that he's been targeted by time-seeking missiles. He gets knocked out of the time stream, and his knife is depowered by an armored stranger. Back in the present, Iron Man brings up a point that this is probably the most powerful Avenger line that's ever been assembled, but somehow they keep getting weaker. No, all manner of issues. Everyone's had to step away for various points, and so the thought does come up to assemble, add new recruits. But Ghost Rider is having something weird happen. He's having dreams of prehistoric riders being killed. You never see, by the time he, just as he's about to see who it is that's doing it, though, as he puts it, his headlights are turned off, and, well. And he's also worried about what will happen when he dies, and wants to make sure his brother's taken care of, and the Avengers all the team versus, hey, look, if you die, your brother will be taken care of. We will see to it. As Black Panther puts it, Roberto, you have my word is all that I am. Then Carol chimes in, am I sworn oath from one soldier to another? Cap adding, am I everything? Am I everything? Everything in my power, Avengers or no Avengers. With Tony then chiming in, your brother's our brother, Robbie. Every single one of us, now and forever. So, Atlantis, Namor meets with She-Hulk, explaining that, he invited her there because she proved she could be what he had at least hasn't been of late, a warrior with honor. And for saving his people, he owes her a great debt. And there's anything she wants or needs, all she can do is speak it, and it is Namor's duty to take care of it. In Russia, the Western Ural Mountains, the Red Widow is talking to someone who sees her as an enemy, but is there willingly. When she's attacked by the Squadron Supreme of America, well, 3 members of it: Power Princess, Dr. Spectrum, and Blur. Dr. Spectrum is about to use his Power Prism to stop her. However, Power Princess punches through his chest and takes it for herself. And she says that Dr. Spectrum doesn't speak for the entire team. And she believes that his Power Prism should always have belonged to someone who understands what power truly means. Someone like her. And they want to bring back their world. Turns out the person who's there with them, the person who's there, the enemy of Red Widows who's there, is Hyperion. Explaining that Hyperion came to her looking for freedom from who he was made to be. To which Power Princess bids her to continue. At the McCarthy Medical Institute in New York, Jane Foster is brought in to advise on an autopsy. Body found in front of Avengers Tower, or the old Avengers Mansion, that won't stop talking. It's a Deathlock, who informs Jane that who especially pipes up when Jane walks in saying, an Avenger is detected. Jane Foster, the Valkyrie. And she says she's not an Avenger. To which Deathlock simply says, not yet. In Wakanda, Gorilla Man is recovering from his wounds, and he's decided he doesn't want to die. He wants to live, even if he's not going to be an agent of Wakanda anymore. He wants to live. And, well, Ursa Major, who's still recovering from his wounds and still comatose, well, if Ursa Major wants to join him, well, in the whole living thing, Gorilla Man will be waiting for him. Back with Khazar, he's fighting off his armored assailant somewhere in time, and his assailant is revealed to be none other than Howard Stark. So we find out that Howard Stark, like his son Tony, is a futurist. He sees the world as it could be, and he realizes that he's not going to be able to actually see the world he envisions. So he makes a deal with Mephisto. The price was his family, and so he became Hell's Armorer. He is now the Iron Inquisitor, Chief Security Officer for the Council of Red, the devils who want to rewrite the history of the universes and topple the walls of reality itself. But after a prolonged fight with Khazar, he leaves Khazar on the far-flung planet he's on, alone with a time dagger that no longer works. Why leave him there? Simple. Galactus is also on planet, looking to chow down. And Khazar says to himself that he spent most of his life fighting to survive against big scary things that wanted to eat him, while dressed in a loincloth with nothing but a knife in his hand. Why should today be any different? He says as he leaps to attack Galactus with nothing but a dagger. Back in 1 million BC, Doom Supreme makes a deal with Mephisto as well to gather together a group of villains to topple the multiverse. We see them in action on taking down the Avengers of 1 million BC on another Earth. And then we actually get a look at the team. Kid Thanos, Hair Venom, the Black Skull, Killmonger the Conqueror, the Phoenix and her pet Berserker, and of course, oh yes, also the Ghost Goblin and Doom Supreme. While Robbie's telling, back in the present, Ghost Rider's telling T'Challa about his dreams when Namor shows up, explaining that yes, him and T'Challa have got a lot of problems, but I'm here at She-Hulk's behest. He's found a Deathlock, who states that there's an Omni Avenger is found. And Robbie, the Deathlock, and the Hellcharger vanish. Just as Valkyrie shows up with another Deathlock. Robbie and the Deathlock end up on Earth 818. The world was just seen, whose Age of Heroes was just seen destroyed at the hands of the multiversal Masters of Evil. As they talk, war machines show up to kill them, and Ghost Rider attacks them. But on another Earth, the multiversal Masters of Evil have arrived. Apparently, the Earth they're on is where all the Deathlocks have converged. As they argue, however, they're met by someone. Orb. He's seen what they're going to do, and he's really excited about this. He thinks they're the best. And he says he can't wait to see who it is they're going to kill next. Well, who they're going to kill next is, of course, him. And it turns out they've arrived on Earth 616. Elsewhere, Kazar is seen once again jumping from tree to tree on an alien world, and we learn that he has become the Herald of Galactus, making a point of finding uninhabited worlds for Galactus to consume. We also get a rundown of blueprint, so to speak, of Avengers Mountain. And finally, we have one more story, which is not part of the overall, or just kind of a backup that they threw in, called The Two Worthies. A young boy in the late 5th century in Britain is out in the woods at night when a brood pops up. He has a bow and he has one arrow left, and but there are two. He begins to pray, when suddenly Mjolnir comes flying through, just obliterating the two brood. And Thor and the young boy, well, mostly Thor, deal with the brood threat. Turns out the brood queen is already on Earth, so they must be dealt with. And Thor intends to do just that. The young boy, well, he's trying to help, but he can't lift Mjolnir, but Thor still manages to save him. And the boy asks, why Thor's hammer is so heavy. And Thor says, well, it's not heavy to me, for me at least. It's been ensorcelled. You know, so only someone who's worthy can wield it. And the boy asks, how does one become worthy? And Thor asks the child his name, to which the young boy responds, Arthur. And Thor says, take heart, friend. Or take heart, friend Arthur. Mjolnir is not your burden. You will find your own. Everyone is worthy of something. And that is where the issue ends. It was kind of annoying to have jumping around the way it did, but I get it. Annoyingly. The multiversal Master of Evil stuff is going to be really fun, especially when we get. I assume we're going to end up getting little one-off issues or one-shots delving into who each of them are, but yeah. Overall, I'm especially glad that She-Hulk is back to the She-Hulk we all know and love. Which is good, seeing as how, her Disney Plus series, which will likely be more, inspired by older She-Hulk tales, is starting up soon. So, you kind of have to have that means of tying in things, But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Captain Marvel number 34. Where we left off, Captain Marvel had tracked down Vox Supreme to the planet that where Marvel fell. And locked in a box that was designed specifically to hold her. So Carol Danvers is stuck in a box. She's trying to figure out a way. She remembers that Monica Rambeau tried to phase her way out of the Vox Supreme armor. So maybe she can do something similar. And she creates a cosmic energy avatar of herself, which destroys the box from the outside. Kind of reminds Carol of how she looked back when she was binary, but the avatar rebonds with her, and she goes, and she's attacked by another Vox Supreme's Marvel. They fight out on the other end of the planet from where Vox Supreme's headquarters is. Marvel manages to distract her a few times. He tries to choke. He gets close to her, tries to choke her. But she realizes that he's not Marvel. But he briefly appears to have been snapped out of Vox Supreme's spell. Hugs Carol, kisses her. Of course, he's kissing her as a means of spreading the Vox Supreme armor to her. And so Carol's taken back to Vox Supreme. However, one of Vox Supreme's earlier victims, who has since healed from her injuries, Phyla Vell, returns and to take on Vox Supreme. She manages to take down the clone, so to speak, of Marvel. Does what she can to get Vox Supreme. Meanwhile, Carol, still in the armor, is trying to fight her way out of it and trying to basically recreate the energy avatar, which she does. And suffice to say, Vox Supreme is at a loss for words, and that is where the issue ends. I've really been enjoying. This has been a neat story so far. It'll be interesting how it wraps up. Excuse me. It's been a day. Moving on to our next book, we've got Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, number 1. So, Kate Bishop, LAPI, she's in a group text with with Cassie Lang, Stinger, and America Chavez, Miss America. And she's on a case. But it turns out that Cassie and America want her to come back to New York. She's not sure if she's going to or not, but she fights a bunch of thugs. It's explained that she has a friend in the police department. Wanted to say it's the LAPD, but it could be off near LA at least. But her friend had a lovely file lying open on her desk, something about threats to a local free clinic next door. While the detectives keeping an eye on the exits, Kate figured she'd pop by the neighbors in case they were going all Shawshank. They are. Takes down the various thugs, sets off their explosive. And we also find out that her and Fuse are on a break, kind of a we're better as friends type of thing. So, yeah. She basically kind of works out everything and decides, yeah, she's gonna go back. She's gonna go back to New York, but she's taking a case first. She tries to duck out of Hawkeye investigations before Fuse and Ramon can catch her, but well, yeah, they figured she was gonna do that, so they're waiting outside. Gets on her plane and heads to the resort chateau in the Hamptons. And that's where she's been hired to work. By her sister, Susan. Turns out Susan was at the resort recently. We also get some flashbacks to arguments between Kate and Susan. But Susan was there recently. By the time she got home, 3 days later, she had scratches everywhere and couldn't remember how she got them. Burn marks on her clothes, but she didn't remember any fire. Aside from some of the performances. She didn't remember lazing by the pool. Also, she her signet ring had been stolen. And Kate does point out to herself, at least, that the guards are weird. And the jugglers. But they notice that Susan quickly puts a bracelet on Kate, and the servers and the juggler stop trying to give her shit and say, "Oh, hey, our bad." There's a screen, however. The child's gone missing, so Kate's on the case. And someone is watching. Someone with a bracelet full of rings. And that is where the issue ends. Fun start. I think the Circus of Crime is involved. Just the fact that the person watching does say, "Welcome to Circus, Kate Bishop." Which the Circus of Crime is... yeah, they're kind of lame-ass circus-themed villains. Generally more, street-level grifty types. If I remember correctly, the famous Avengers cover with Hawkeye, pulling his bow back and Ant-Man lying along the top part of the broadhead was a story about the two of them fighting the Circus of Crime. Anyway, on to our next book. We've got Phoenix Song, Echo. Where we left off, Echo, now possessed the power of the Phoenix, was kind of going in search of herself, and she'd gone. She was looking in. She was trying to kind of rediscover herself now that she's got cosmic fire goddess powers, and but she met a man who had quasi time travel related powers, and we explained that someone is trying to wipe out her family line so that they can take the Phoenix Force from her. First off, that someone is revealed to be none other than the Adversary, a longtime X-Men villain. in fact, as I recall, in the core story of Fall of the Mutants, it's the adversary that the X-Men were fighting in in Texas when they died. But Rivers kind of goes over his past. When he was 5 years old, his parents died in a car accident. He was raised by an elderly couple who rescued him, and the adversary came to him every night and explained that he, what he wanted, and that if Rivers helped him, what he'd do for Rivers, which is return him to that point in time, so that and save his parents from being killed. That way, Rivers' life would go completely differently. And the adversary tells him, hey, well, there will come a point when you meet a woman named Maya Lopez. Keep her off, basically, kind of. Once Maya's dead and the power she has as the adversaries, well, then, yeah. She'll return Rivers to the point in time where his parents died, rescue the parents, and, yeah, happily ever after. But it's explained that they're going after the women, that the adversary is going after the women in Echo's family tree. But the adversary shows up. Echo is about to attack him, but Rivers is, says not to. That's how the adversary is steal power. Only potentially because of the Phoenix, he ended up dragging us through time to 1999, the night that her parents first met. But Maya gets to talk to her mom a bit. They trade the point where they trade earrings. Then the adversary shows up and kills Echo's mother. But once again, Rivers pulls her through on a portal to save her. You can't do this here. We'll fix this. We just have to figure out how. When they go to the portal, they come out in the Old West in Oklahoma. Bear in mind, these are two. One of mixed Latino and indigenous descent, and one just of indigenous descent in the 1800s. Surrounded by a group of white guys. Yeah, probably not good for them. And that is where the issue ends. Which brings us to our last book for the moment. Well, first off, Phoenix Song Echo #2. Fun. Good. Interesting concepts. I kind of hate the fact that time travel is done so differently depending on who's writing it. Like in this case, it's instead of it being Back to the Future. Oh, if your parent, if one of your parents is killed before you're born, then you just disappear. And sometimes it's like, oh no, well you came from a future where you were born, so if you were standing there if you travel back in time to a point before you were born, and your parents were killed before you're born, you still survive, but in that you have to basically make sure they're not, so that you're not just a continual paradox of something like that. And we move on to our last book for the moment. We got Darkhawk #4. Where we left off, Darkhawk, dealing with the fact that his best friend had been murdered, took on the arms dealers whom his restaurant was working for, and got kind of messed up in the process to the point of losing an arm. He was rescued from the river by Miles Morales. So they talk a bit, and Darkhawk reverts back, basically turns the armor off, and Miles says he gets him to eat, and And it explains to Miles that, dude's got MS. But they talk about, various things, and it's noted that Miles is texting, occasionally texting, and everything that's gone on is Miles learns everything that's gone on. And but Connor explains that he doesn't want to take on these people, and it turns out the person that Miles was texting, he wants to help too, Captain America. So the three of them. It turns out that Colt is a former Hydra Spec Ops instructor. Now working for AIM. But the three of them go after. It turns out that AIM's working on a Project Deathlock and bringing in bits of tech, which kind of coincides with the fact that Spider-Man says there are a lot of crews running tech. They don't even know what they've got. So they bust in on AIM and start mucking up beekeepers, and then the new Deathlock shows up, and I'm sorry. Yeah, that's their Deathlock prototype. But Darkhawk takes him down using a massively powerful version of the Amulet Blast that Chris Powell would use. And Miles asks Cap, could the other Darkhawk do that? To which Cap says, not quite. But they talk. Connor and Miles continue to talk about things, kind of setting the concept of, there being team-ups between the two of them. And Miles imparts some wisdom on him, if you're so worried about who you're supposed to be, it's real tough to appreciate who you are. But elsewhere, Colt is setting up Sean to become a new Deathlock. Colt being, as mentioned, the go-between for AIM and the local crews. Sean being the guy who's running the crew that Connor's late best friend ran with. And that is where the issue ends. It's it's a solid issue. I kind of get the feeling that I'll probably end up thinking of the Darkhawk series as being the underrated gem of this past year's comics. But anyway, that's to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.